a bit of a surprise release that came last Monday from the Paul Institute. We talked about Jai Paul last year as he released a remastered version of some leaks, like from the early 2010s, I believe it was.
Yep. Leak 413 bait ones. Yeah. Obviously the Jai Paul story, very interesting, very detailed. We went over that when we talked about that album, and his enigmatic presence has not changed since bait ones was officially sanctioned, and we get this Paul Institute drop from the clouds, largely heralded by his brother and collaborator AK Paul. So yeah, definitely a unexpected thing, and that's basically what all the music blogs were saying. It was like, oh crap, music from the Paul Institute, nice, because I mean, how else can you react?
And shout out, I love calling themselves an institute, where they're like, we're these producers and we're going to bring in these collaborators and let them make songs and help them make them awesome. And I actually felt like all these songs banged, dude. Like, I thought this was a really great 6-track drop. And it feels like you can tell that the Paul brothers, their own style kind of is touched all over these, but each song still feels like it kind of has its own feel to it and is individual to the artist. Some really big collaborators on here, including the track Waiting, which we added to the playlist, which has, I believe it's sorry, I wrote it down here. It has Pino Palladino, who's the bassist from The Who, who's played bass with Nine Inch Nails, John Mayer, and his daughter was the one that produced that song or made that song. Pretty amazing to get someone of that stature kind of collaborating with these very up and coming, very modern artists. But I think that just speaks to a bit of the swagger and the sway that the Paul Institute has. Which tracks did you find yourself digging most on here?
Yeah, so that song you mentioned, Waiting, from Fabiana Palladino, I thought that song was really great. I also liked the last song, the song right after that, Dynasty by Pen Pals, as well as Shadow Night by Renan? Not sure.
Renan?
Like yeah. That. But yeah, like you said, they all have their own unique identity. They all sound pretty cool. From what I know, AK Paul actually did release Be Honest a few months ago. So I guess if you were really on the pulse of the Paul Institute, you might have been expecting this a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I think it is cool that like this whole like this incubator situation, that's the way they describe themselves. We're starting to kind of see the fruits of that, and I'm looking forward to any more drops, and hopefully maybe just starting to have a larger presence. I know they had a bit of a legal fight regarding like the building that the Institute is like based out of, like their offices and studio and stuff. So sounds like that's behind them now. So hopefully they can continue to really make some more noise. But this is really cool. I think my only gripe really is that it's kind of hard to find on streaming services because it's billed under various artists and not under like a big name like Jai Paul or the Paul Institute,
Well, and that was something I was kind of thinking about, AK Paul, like you said, dropped Be Honest, and Jai Paul hasn't dropped, new music on his own in quite some time. And these artists are fairly unknown, unless you're, I think, really on the pulse of these up and coming creators. And I guess I'm wondering, do you think we're ever going to get like a AK Paul or Jai Paul released on their own, or do you think they're going to be more of like the production side of things, like kind of making music but more so collaborating with people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really have no idea, because they both seem to be interested in both as creators and producers and mentors of talent and stuff. So they really seem to be involved in all aspects of the game, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, tough to be confident, right? I mean, given how long they've been musicians, right? Haven't heard a whole lot, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing I think where I imagine at some point we'll either get like the Paul brother drop or something like that, but I just get the sense from them it's going to be like these small packs of songs and maybe not that big advertised album. That just doesn't seem like that's their style right now. But who knows? Maybe
Mhm.
as the Institute continues to grow, we'll see more and more of that.